How does the southern United States always rebuild after a hurricane? It doesn't usually affect the whole state, so you can have contractors come from all over. All of the above. First, power companies and fire and rescue bring in vehicles and crews from all over the country in anticipation of hurricanes. They'll stage thousands of teams just outside the affected area so that, as soon as the hurricane is past, they can go right to work restoring critical power infrastructure and providing aid. A ton of funding pours into the area through both government organizations like FEMA and nonprofits like the American Red Cross. Insurance companies similarly mobilize armies of assessors to disposition clients' homes and figure out appropriate remediation. Is it a repairable? Does it need a teardown? For construction companies that specialize in that kind of work, there's no shortage of business, so they also flock to the area, sometimes partnering with insurance companies to give discounted rates on repairs in exchange for lots of guaranteed business. Folks may also get financial support from the aforementioned government and nonprofit groups in addition to their insurance providers. Mitigate damages as best you can, or at least enough, so insurance doesn't fight you. Call your insurance company. Schedule an appointment with FEMA, which was surprisingly easy when I had to do it. Start hauling trash to the curb, separating generally into household trash, construction debris, and yard debris. Your local garbage company is not going to take anything from the second or third categories on their normal trash pickup. Throwing everything in one pile causes frustration by everyone because nobody will take it. Move forward navigating construction scams. My house was near a wildfire a few years back. The answer is slowly. It's been 3 years and there are still a couple of empty lots. Northern money. That sweet socialism they hate until they are the ones that need it. Instead of reaching for their bootstraps, they reach for a handout. If there's ever a major hurricane coming in, if you drive north of where it's making land, you will usually see parking lots full of tree trimming, plumbing, electrical, and carpentry trucks, just sitting around and waiting for the hurricane to make landfall, so they can go into the area and start putting it back together after. So long of that process, there's just a basic routine that takes place. And everybody knows there will be plenty of state and federal funds from emergency relief to pay them when they get there. Like in the Midwest when a city gets trashed by a tornado. When Greensburg, KS got hit, the town was basically wiped out. The town was a little over a mile wide, and a mile-wide tornado ripped right down the center. In the middle of the night, before the sun came up, there were convoys of various trucks and vehicles heading from cities and towns throughout Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. Everybody in the region who could just descended on the town to help where they could. Got to the point where news outlets were reporting that volunteer workers were too numerous and they were asking people to wait before traveling there. Insurance companies charge a lot of money on premiums on waterfront property. Specifically because of these situations. They are gonna pay out millions and deny more. Hurricanes are good for perpetual business. The same way the Midwest rebuilds after a tornado outbreak, or how the West Coast rebuilds after an earthquake. Blue state tax dollars, literally that's the only reason it pays emergency crews and organizations who are either in state or out of state to come and fix everything. Money from the federal government. Don't tell the Republican voters down there. Their head might explode. There are more roofing, etc. companies in places that suffer more regular damage, but also crews travel in from elsewhere in search of work. That's what taxes and home business insurance are for. Do the residents after surviving a hurricane keep their sandbags for next time? New Orleans took a long time to recover in terms of population after Katrina. In 2005, the year the storm hit, the population was 996,000. In 2006, it was 703,000, about 30 fewer people. A lot of people left because they couldn't afford to rebuild what they lost. It wasn't until 2021, 16 years later, that the population passed the 996,000 mark again. A lot of them don't have insurance this time though. I don't believe in God, but I think he's saying not to live here. Volcanoes may have nice views, but probably not a good idea to build a multi-million-dollar vacation house right on the rim. Imagine the billions the US would save if people didn't live in hurricane-prone areas. Socialist Cuba meant welfare.